I'd like to call the Personnel Committee meeting to order. We have discussion first up. Do we have anything before the committee? No? Okay. The first resolution is the safety officer. And we need a sponsor and a second. I will sponsor. We need a second for discussion.
I'll second for discussion.
Excellent. Thank you, Ryan. Okay. Who would like to open the discussion? Ryan.
I'd just like to say, I think this is a great idea, and splitting it between the two municipalities is really, it's great for all of us. My only question would be is, I know we're about to bring on a general liability broker who hopefully, expectedly, will be laying out a risk management plan, and I wonder if it would be prudent to put this off until after we see what our new broker might say.
Excellent. I thank you. I just want to add one quick thing. I was glad to see this, and
Okay.
and then I'll just add this really quickly. This was something that was brought up with the last form of government and the safety officer. I do think we've all agreed that it is an important position. It's something that on all aspects the county needs, but how we proceed right now is the main item that we need to decide. So.
Right. Yeah, and I would like to second Legislator White's. We're down to a couple brokers now, and I know they both offered to help us with risk management and safety, and I just think their input on this would be very valuable. And all we're asking, or I'm asking, is to wait a month or two until we get the broker on board, and then he can take a look at this, advise us maybe his or her duties, and then take it from there. Okay?
Okay. I am not against that in any way, shape, or form. I'm definitely interested in looking at a fresh perspective, looking at new ways. If the committee and the board, because we have more than just the committee here, would be interested if they would allow our personnel director, who brings so much into the county, could give us a perspective. He did bring what we have currently for the safety officer, which is something that the broker could take a look at and maybe see what could be added, what we would want to keep,
Sure.
if we want, what we would want to do, and maybe after that, maybe we could hear from the county executive and see his perspective on this from the broker, because I think what you two add is, I absolutely agree. I like it. So
Okay.
thank you very much. Okay. Mr. Paya?
There was a meeting held with the county executive, the mayor of Amsterdam, Alderman Barone, and legislator McChesney regarding, Martin was there and myself, regarding the safety officer. And the county's always had a safety officer. It was part-time for years. Gary Nessel took it over full-time for a while. Then it went part-time for a little while. Then Richard came, and he was the safety officer for 3 years. So since 2010, there have been no safety officers in the county. And since 2010, it's unfortunate that when we hired the last safety officer part-time, I have a packet of this information that thick regarding stuff that has to be done in Montgomery County. Of course, when we hired the person, I gave it to him, and I don't know where the information went. So this is like a synopsis of things that haven't been done, should be done for not just the county, city of Amsterdam. I got a call again from Bob Reedy this morning. He's coming up tomorrow for a meeting, and they're asking the same question. They want a safety officer. They haven't done violence in the workplace, I don't know how many years. So he's asking these questions, that person will help out with doing that violence in the workplace. I'm not a safety officer.
Right.
All right, so I have no background in safety. So again, since 2014, that's been it. When we have travelers now, but when there was a safety officer, We used to have monthly safety meetings. In fact, Terry came to some of those meetings. We have these meetings, and Travis would come to those meetings with department heads, safety officer, county, at that time, county administrator, now it'd be the county executive, every month we go through safety. Right? Again, since 2000, and I've been asking, not the county exec, but the former chairman of the county, to have these meetings. Nothing. So all I'm saying is, in my personal opinion, you need a safety officer. Either today, next month, 2 months from now, you need one. So whatever you want to do, if you want to, table it, that's fine, but you still need one somewhere.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
I just, my quick points, I certainly understand where the legislature is coming from. My opinion is that we do need to move on this now. And the reasons being, I am concerned that the city of Amsterdam has such a need that should we not do it now, they go ahead and hire a safety officer, and then we lose the opportunity to partner with them in a shared services agreement that's going to save us some money. So that's not a guarantee, but in my conversations with the mayor, she's growing more and more concerned. The aldermen have been growing more and more concerned, and I just hate us to lose out on the opportunity. In my discussions with the brokers, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they all agree we need one. So I think the broker could certainly provide input and direction for the safety officer, but I think at the end of the day, regardless, their recommendation is going to be that we need one. And then they can help, on the day-to-day, and the safety officer will be there for the day-to-day implementation of that risk management plan. And then lastly, just on the timeline, if we think about it, if we hire the person now, it goes through the board, we'll be able to start the interview process next month, the hiring, the person could probably get going, I don't know, mid-September. If we wait, say hypothetically, we select a broker in September, it goes through the board in October, we're looking at not having a safety officer until mid-November as far as the timeline, and that's if we can do the hiring within 2 weeks. So will the sky fall or any major problems happen if it doesn't happen until November? Probably not, but I know there's certainly enough work that we could get this person going and hit the ground running if we did do it this month. But again, if it is the wishes of the legislature to wait, I totally understand and respect that, and we'll wait. My biggest concern is that we lose out on that intermunicipal agreement with the city, because we've had a part-time safety officer and that didn't work out, and I think having someone as a caliber of a full-time is what we need, and really what we're getting is through the IMA with the city is a full-time person qualification-wise at half-time cost, which is nice. So again, this isn't a do or die issue for me, and I certainly respect however you'd like to proceed, and but those are my thoughts on it.
Thank you. Martin?
Who will be paying the benefits for this person? Is the city reimbursing us for?
Yes, everything is split down the middle, salary and benefits. The county will be in charge of administering. The employee will take the lead on the interview process, with working in conjunction with representatives from the city, but everything, including benefits, will be split right down the middle.
Will they be a non-bargaining, or what type of employee? Will they?
It's not bargaining.
Non-bargaining.
I think these are very good questions, and because of some of the bureaucratic things, it calls to question if we, Legislator Whites.
Are you sure?
Yeah, go ahead.
I completely understand, and I feel the same way as the executive on this. But since we've been operating since 2010 without, and with this broker coming on, I'm just stuck because it would be very unfortunate to lose the city of Amsterdam on this deal. But, you know, I would feel more comfortable waiting until our broker comes on and can give us some more direction on what we should be doing for risk management.
If I can ask a question, because I believe we're broke down to just a few select people for the liability.
Correct.
If those that are left all feel positive about having a safety officer going forward in this bureaucratic step, to hire a safety officer is our portion. So one thing I learned with the sheriff department, we have to allocate for a road patrol 2 years before they'll get it. So with the academy, with everything else. So it may take us doing it now in order for us to have the safety officer in 2 months. So if those that are on the committee, on the legislative board, would feel comfortable that we would have a liability broker to be able to have an insight and be able to be a part of this, then that would be something we might be able to go forward. And Martin?
Will this help us towards our consolidation and plan?
With the benefits, it'll be probably in the ballpark of about $25,000 to $30,000 worth of savings that we could apply to that 300,000+, which is that 1% of the tax levy. Yes.
Which
yes.
will be beneficial for the residents of our county.
Yeah, I fully intended that this intermunicipal agreement would be one of the shared service initiatives included in the government efficiency plan.
I think from the committee step, I'm taking from the legislators on the committee. I would feel comfortable with you being on the committee from the liability perspective. If you feel comfortable, if we could go forward from here, we still have the full board later on this month. If we feel that we don't want the safety officer, but from a shared service, I definitely would support it. I felt uncomfortable from 2010. I've been a huge supporter of it, and it will be a process to try to go forward. It's not a hurried thing, but I will definitely, I'm open to listen.
Well, I guess I can make a proposal that the broker be in on the interviewing for the safety officer. I just worry about whether it was full-time or part-time. We've never had a successful not the safety officer personally, but it just, the whole thing just didn't work. So I think we need an outside perspective. And then I also would like to, we're not just doing this, one of the, obviously for safety, but the other is, a cost savings to us through our premiums. So, and as you know, the brokers that are left, they're offering to do training. So I would like to coordinate that with the safety officer, obviously. So I think they need to be in on it. I mean, they have the experience, they know what to look for, and so I think I would agree to move forward if the broker is in on the interview. Okay?
I would.
And I would just say I 100% agree with Terry on that. I think that has to be almost about as close of a relationship as it gets. I mean, that safety officer is there on the day-to-day to implement what's actually going to hopefully either prevent lawsuits and expenses or reduce costs.
Right.
And I agree wholeheartedly with you on that. And I think by having one person in charge of the administrative side, and you know how things broke down in the past,
Right.
was that, the mixed direction from 15 bosses that sort of contributed to the downfall of the safety officer. I don't want to go out too far out on a limb on that one, but that's what I've heard. But yeah, I mean, and Terry, I'm willing to work with you on this and
Okay.
make sure that we do it right and really nail this, because it's such a big part of what we got to do moving forward.
I would totally agree with that, 100%. I saw you raise your hand and then Joe.
Just to let you know that in the budget, the way it's set up, the safety officer is in the county exec's budget for office. So the county exec and the mayor will be the boss of this person. And he's going to work in each area. Also, the job is provisional. Even though it's non-bargaining, it's provisional. There's a civil service exam for the job. So again, once the hire provisional appointee, if you have the company do it with you, with the county exec and the mayor, and then once the list comes out, again, if the person who's provisional is not reachable or fails the exam, and you got a list of 3, then you start the process over again with the insurance company.
Okay.
Because it takes a while to get a person hired permanent with the exam.
Okay.
Has there been a complete job description for this person made?
Well, there was a job description, but what we're talking about is forming something new, so it's in the best fit for this new position.
There really isn't that, right? Okay.
There'll be a new one. Yep. And then we have Ryan and Tom.
Just 2 quick questions. What is the term of the IMA, lengthwise? I'm not sure.
I have one with me. There is not a term that I see.
Okay. And the second question I would have is, if we're bringing this person on and we're sharing the cost 50-50, I would assume we're going to be sharing the time 50-50. And in essence, have a part-time safety officer here and in the city. Is there any, would there be any indication that a broker would suggest having a full-time? Is there workload that would be indicative of having a full-time safety officer at the county alone?
In talking with Rich, I mean, I think we certainly could find enough work for a full-time person, but I think just from cost cutting, savings of money, I think we can certainly manage at the part-time level.
Tom was next.
I didn't support this under the last, I don't know, it was December or whatever it was. One of the reasons I didn't support it is I said, what we're moving forward with here today could be changed tomorrow by a new county executive after he takes office. So to me, it was pointless to do it. I think I was right because he's not sitting here now. There is no safety officer because he's, for whatever reason. So I was right. About that. Here's my question. I keep hearing everybody say that the broker of record should sit in on the interview and that the broker of record thinks it's a good idea. This is what confuses me. Our broker of record is going to go out there and find our insurance carriers for us, correct? It's our insurance carriers that we want sitting in and giving the advice on this, not the broker is the person funneling the deal for. Correct me if I'm wrong, Matt. The broker is the person that's going to. So I think you're a little bit further down the road than just a meeting or two, because the broker of record now has to go his due diligence, and the new carrier is not going to take over until January 1.
I agree with you, Tom, but I think it was one thing that was visibly clear in our interviewing process is there are some things that we can start immediately that we can do to put ourselves in a better position. And I think whether it's the broker, just from their years of experience working with counties, saying, these are, 5 things that you can work on from now until the end of the year. I don't think we're going to have, and again, Rich has a whole list of things that could be started on immediately. So, to your point about the time, I think we can get going quicker. But I do agree with you on the sense that the carriers are the ones that really, and they provide a lot of these trainings, and oftentimes that broker is just that connection to the carrier, I guess.
And I'm not suggesting that we wait. I'm not suggesting that we wait. I'm just saying that the real discussion needs to happen with the carrier on January 1. Broker wants to funnel it, and do his thing. He understands it, but that's where the real discussion needs to take place, because they're the risk managers. They're the ones who are going to advise us on the risk and the risk that we're taking or not taking, and those carriers are the ones who really need to be part of putting that plan together that we're going to go by, that's going to save us money, that's going to help with those premiums. I believe, unless I've got that wrong. The other thing that I wish we would do, and it always continues to fall on deaf ears, and only because I deal with it on a daily basis, I guess, is I don't believe we use PESH like we should. They're the ones who are going to come in here and tell us and cite us like we had, which kind of promoted all this back in October or whenever it was, with a few things that they had come up with. I believe we need to be partners with them and have them come in. Not saying that we shouldn't do this. We should do it. I'm just saying we need to advocate to have them as partners with us so that moving forward, we have a strong plan that keeps our people safe, reduces our premiums, gives this taxpayer the best bang for the buck, and allows us to consolidate services.
Wait, Tom, you're right again. We just brought in PESH. we just brought in PESH to do a complete overlook of all the buildings and the air quality and all that stuff. And I didn't get a bill from it. And
Beautiful.
It identified some short-term things that we can work on, as well as some other issues that we're going to need that long-term building strategy to solve. But we followed that advice. We brought them in, and we're going to be meeting with the union and some of our, and Paul and some of our team to devise an action plan on some of those short-term steps that we can take. So we did follow up on that.
Joe?
Matt keeps saying that Rich has a list of things that need to be done immediately. Can you give us that, share that list with us?
I'll put copies in, I'll give the sheriff one in your box.
Okay.
And maybe Rich, you could just offer some off the top of your head, such as our trainings and.
Well, trainings, you have, Richard is the former safety officer, had a safety list. There's potential hazards in the workplace. He would go through this list and go to every department, check out this list and look at every department. See what was being done, not being done, make a recommendation to the chairman.
Spot checks on the road crews.
He was excellent.
There's hazards in the workplace. He would take, these are all his. He would take these 3 sheets. These are also offices, equipment, physical, chemical, human, housekeeping, first aid, and evacuation. He would go around and check that, follow that. So he got a schedule. And when he left, there had to be at least 3 file cabinets full of information. I think Eddie has it in his office, yes, in the CSA office. I mean, he filled up his file cabinets. He was very active, proactive on safety. And also, Legislator Quackenbush said, when we had those safety meetings, the broker didn't come to the meeting, it was the carrier, it was Travers. And Travers sat down with us and sat down with Richard and went through everything with us as a carrier. And also sent Richard to Travers had all these training classes. He used to go to Connecticut every so often for training for Travers in these seminars. So, and one more thing, even though we have a job spec, remember a job spec is only an illustration only of some of the duties. So on this job spec, there's like 13 or 14 major duties that safety officers are supposed to be doing. But besides that, he can do 100 job duties on this job spec. You can't put everything on a job spec what they're supposed to be doing. So it's only an outline or a guide, but it also shows the qualifications. Now these qualifications are also, these are state qualifications that are also approved by travelers. The last time I hired Richard, in 2006, this was adopted for him, for the safety officer.
Does he also deal with violence in the workplace or no?
Yes.
That's part of his,
That's part of it.
Everything.
when I was down in the city, there was a very serious problem with that.
Right, and they haven't done it for a while, so that's why, so.
It's part of their sense of.
And I was in the meeting because the mayor happened to be out of town, and at that time I was deputy mayor when the state came in.
Right,
It
so
still hasn't
Bob,
been addressed, it's still sitting there.
so Bob Reedy called me, he's coming tomorrow. He wants my violence in the workplace policy, he wants everything I did last year, all the training, because it has to be done. That's what we got written up by PES, because a certain department wasn't posted up in the soil district, or not soil.
Sewer district.
Sewer district wasn't posted,
Yeah.
we got written up on that.
Well, they had called in a number of people with violence down there, and I think they're finding the city's fine is already up to $80,000 or $100,000. It's going up.
It's a yearly mandatory thing. It's not just training, there's a whole bunch of things before the training happens. So, you know, I've been doing that, but it's, again, I'm not a safety officer.
So that is one of the
Yes.
things that they, okay, thank you.
And just one other thing to add, and as you see in the resolution, there is over $9,000 in the line for a part-time person. I mean, technically, I could go out and hire a part-time safety officer now, but I haven't done that since the previous safety officer resigned because we wanted to work this intermunicipal deal with the city of Amsterdam. So, and I think that's a better way forward. But I will say, I am getting a little nervous too, because as the guy in charge, not having somebody to do those spot checks to make sure the guys on the road are doing their proper safety protocol, or the training's in check, or whatever it may be, that go-to person isn't there that should be there. And I just think we'll get a better candidate at a full-time salary than a part-time salary. So, you know, that's why I've been holding off here. So, that's my final thoughts. But again, even if their decision is to wait, I think we'll be okay. But I'm up to hit the ground running.
The only thing, Barbara, one more thing, I think the city's under serious pressure to do it.
I've heard
We're
from,
not in the situation that they're in right now.
I too have heard from a few older women and men. I think that it's wonderful what our legislative people have offered and are willing to work with the executive legislative rights.
I think I feel comfortable passing it on to the full board, so at least it's on the agenda. But in the next week, I would like to review the intermunicipal agreement in its entirety and try and get some clarification on the term to see if we should add one in or what that may be.
Okay. Legislative.
I just would ask that when we do this, and I'll support it. I'll support it going to the full board and moving forward, but I want to know that we have some sort of a system that benefits not only the city of Amsterdam, but us, that tracks the work that the individual is doing, just so we can say, I'm not looking for just, I spent 18 hours here, I'm not asking for it to be, but we have to know that these things are, whether it's a checklist, that we know these things are the main things are being accomplished, from the sexual harassment that he'll probably do, right? Also the workplace violence, whatever those things are, we want to make sure that it's getting done.
Accountability.
Accountability for everyone.
I think it's great.
Just one last thing. I want to touch base with this. I think there's a misconception, or maybe there's a lack of understanding between a broker and your liability carrier. And I'm hoping once we get down to two, or when it's time for the brokers to come and do the presentation to the board, you will learn more like we've done. Actually, what you're doing is you're hiring their company, you're hiring their agency, and like even one of them brought their safety officer with them. So you bring all that experience when you hire the person. So they obviously got more experience in dealing with these things. The Travelers doesn't do the day-to-day operation with our insurance. Your broker does. And because there's a lack of communication now with a broker, we rely a lot on Travelers. Well, that's not the right way. So I think we'll see that corrected, and I think the county will be better for it. Thank you.
Okay, any more discussion? Okay, wishes of committee?
Full board.
Move forward, excellent. Okay, anything else before the committee? Okay. Motion to adjourn? Ryan? Terry?
Second.
Adjourn.
I'd like to call the Budget and Finance Committee to order. Any discussion? Just to let all the other legislators know, I do have one resolution under other to bring up. All right. Need a sponsor and a second for a resolution amending the 2014 operating budget insurance deductible. Barb? Roy? Discussion?
Who's second?
Roy.
Oh, who's sponsored?
Barbara. Hearing none, all those in favor of moving to full board?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Move to full board. Second is a resolution amending the 2014 operating budget. I need a sponsor and a second.
I'll sponsor.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? I would just like to mention something here. When the budget was adopted last year, the Board of Supervisors weren't sure who would be the clerk of the legislature, so when they budgeted, budgeted for the base salary of the clerk of the legislature, and this is just including the step, is that what it's called? Bucket, longevity? That's why I'm not into it. So that's just so Cheryl can
29
be,
years now.
that's just so Cheryl can be properly compensated for her time. Any other discussion? Nope. All those in favor of moving to full board?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, carried. The next is a resolution approving assignment of certain ground released by Montgomery County Industrial Development Agency in connection with the refinancing by Montgomery County Capital Resource Corporation of certain bonds issued for the benefit of Hamilton Fulton Montgomery Board of Cooperative Services. Can I get a sponsor?
I'll sponsor.
Roy, second. Barbara. Discussion? No?
Do you want to, could you elaborate at all?
I believe they're doing a capital project.
They're refinancing, this goes back, they're refinancing the bonds that they did originally on the original project up there at FMCC. And what they're doing is they're able to get a lower interest rate, obviously, because the interest rates have come down since the original bond, which was in 2005. So this is bond refinancing. It actually saved BOCE, that obviously the Pomona School District, with the new refinancing, about $1.9 million for the life of the financing.
Great.
And this was the purpose why we created this.
Yep, capital resource
Yep.
corporation.
So,
Thank you.
any other questions? Motion, all those in favor of moving to full board?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? The next is a resolution adopting revolving loan fund regulations. Barbara? Roy? Discussion?
Yeah, where are we at? What's our balance for?
Right now, legislator, we've got approximately 2.186 million going on.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
We would adopt these every year.
No, legislator, what these are, if you look through, and I did put that as backup with the attachment, we went through the loan regulations, there was, this is just referencing supervisors and changing that to legislature, pretty much throughout that, those are the real changes.
So once we do this, unless we need other changes like that, we won't be doing this yearly.
Correct, the last time this was done was, we revised it in February of 2010.
Any other questions? All those in favor of moving to full board?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, carried. Next is a resolution authorizing executive to sign revolving loan fund agreement, 6 Sam Stratton LLC. Sponsor? Roy? Barbara?
Yeah,
Questions?
yeah.
Yes?
Okay, this says the applicant has agreed to hire 12 new full-time equivalent positions and retain 3.5 full-time equivalent positions over the next 3 years. Is that just, can you elaborate that at all? Is that?
Let me explain, I'll explain the process.
Thank you so much, Ken.
I'll explain the process. The Flooring Authority approached us a while back in relation to, we've been working with them at a building at 6 Sam Stratton Road. If you guys, for those of you guys that are new, Ward Products, which used to be in the Edson Street Park, had 2 facilities. One was a larger 55,000+ square foot facility. Another one was a cinder block building, which was about 20,000 square feet, which was on Sam Stratton, the larger facilities up on Edson Street. We've been working with them. They're currently located right now in the Walter Road Museum facility on Church Street. They've kind of outgrown that location. They're looking to, they've increased a lot of their work, so they're looking to hire, and they need a place to expand. It's more conducive to their expansion plans. We're working with them and Patriot Bank, Savings Bank in relation to this loan. What we're going to be looking at here is, right now it's currently structured whereby we would be providing $180,000. Patriot would be coming in with $180,000 for the acquisition of the building. The acquisition of the building itself is $400,000. The Flooring Authority is coming in with $40,000 in equity on the project. Due to the commitment of us, obviously, there has to be some type of job creation and retention associated with it. We told them to be conservative with their numbers, as we do with all of the companies we work with. They have 3.5 FTEs now, and they're looking to add another 12 FTEs at that location. So as it stands right now, it would be participation from Patriot for this project. So.
Are we on the lien of the building, the county?
Yes, we discussed that, legislator, and Patriot's never done a co-equal first. We told them it has to be a co-equal first, or either potentially they would take us out, or we potentially could do the whole thing. Obviously, if the terms of the structure change, we'll be back to you guys for your approval. The IDA did review this basically at 2 meetings actually, and they approved it, recommended approval at their meeting on Thursday night. Patriot was there, the applicant was there. So that's
Okay.
And this is the process. The IDA, just so you guys are new, this is the first loan I think I brought to you guys. Just so you know, as part of the regulations, the IDA basically administers the loan program. We're responsible for that, responsible for the underwriting, the analysis. The IDA will review it. They'll recommend approval or disapproval of the loan. If it gets to the approval stage, then we come to you for the final approval, because it is a county loan fund. The IDA is just administering that fund.
Any other questions? All those in favor of moving to full board?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, carried. Next is a resolution refunding 2014 town and county tax rolls, various parcels. I need a sponsor and a second. Tom, Ryan, and Ryan. Could you just explain this a little bit? You did it very well earlier.
With these, like I said, the question was asked, is there any budget amendments? What this is, in this particular one, because of the storm relief act that was passed, this individual is getting a reduction on his assessment. Really the impact to the county is, the county will lose part of their tax revenue. And any town taxes within this case is the town, they're not in the village. The town would be responsible for their portion of the, we would charge the town back for their portion. So it's roughly, I don't have the exact number of the tax figure, but the assessment on this particular property is almost cut in half. So the taxes that will be collected on this individual parcel would be really almost cut in half. So it is a loss of revenue, tax revenue for the county, which in the long run, it would be picked up by really the county as a whole once the new cycle takes place.
Thank you. All those in favor of moving to full board?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Carried. Next is a resolution amending the 2014 operating budget, 2014-2015 enhanced CPS funds. Got this sponsor, Tom, Barbara. Discussion? Tom?
If we could ask Commissioner, this is just a partial years. The 57,000 is how much the grant was?
That's the full.
That's the full grant. So this money that's right here that we're appropriating, you got 942 coming in,
That's 2014, that'd be your 2014.
and those numbers below it are the remaining 2014.
Right.
And then next year, what's the, is it in there? What's the full?
The full, I'll give you the numbers, it'll be, it's 57,400 for the total grant.
Right.
And then it's 42,881 would be the salary, the full salary.
Uh-huh.
For the FICA, it'd be 3280. Retirement, 1286. And hospital medical, 995.
So the remaining grant money that we deduct will pay for that next year. After that, are you anticipating year after year that to be paid for with grant money that's going to continue, or is that a?
It's no. We had we had addressed this and identified this as a budget request for this year. The grant just happened to come in and kind of support kind of the seed money for the first year. We had already put it in the budget as a need. The state had identified some deficiencies here in supervision. So this worked out good for us. So this is really seed money. We hope to sustain it. Now, we've got this grant 8 years in a row. Each year has a different focus, but it's always been for case supervisors or part-time work or for caseworkers. Our casework staff is pretty sturdy and strong. Where we're lacking is in supervision.
Any other questions?
I have a question. Can I ask Ken a question?
Yeah.
What's the status on the hotel down in the city? Are we still in on that, or are we out of that?
Yeah, I had discussions with them late last week. They're still working towards that conclusion.
We haven't started anything, right?
No, they haven't. There's some things associated with the ownership structure that they're going to be working out over the next month.
Okay, all right. Because they had originally said in their press releases that they were going to open up in September and October. They really got to move. Right?
No, that'll be, the gut rehab of that, it's going to be an 8 to 10 month process. Okay.
All those in favor of moving this resolution to full board?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Carried. The next is a resolution approving abstract of audit claims. Barbara? Ryan? Discussion? All those in favor of moving to full board?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Next is a resolution appointing a member to the audit committee. Barb,
I'll second.
Ryan,
Oh, you weren't volunteering?
I'll volunteer. Unless, are you gonna be here?
Yeah, I think we're going back around the circle here, aren't we?
Yep.
I think everybody served.
Yep.
We won't be here for you.
Oh, I won't be here
So
for,
who would like to volunteer?
I think Ryan does.
I would volunteer with being said that I won't be here the 4th Tuesday in September.
Yeah, I won't either.
Because everybody's at the, everybody's not at tonight's act, so you're not going? So we got it covered.
Okay.
Nice.
All right, so I'd like to propose an amendment to insert legislator Ryan Weeks.
I'll second that.
White. All those in favor on the amendment?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? All those in favor of moving the resolution as amended to full board?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? All right. The next one, I believe is all on your desk. It's a resolution amending the 2014 operating budget, engineering services.
That's my turn.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Discussion?
Yeah. Engineering services is something that Montgomery County has needed forever, but it's also something that is shared services. I know that every municipality has needed, is wanted, can use it. Paul, I'm sure you can add some insight to it as well, maybe, if you want to. But is this something that you don't want to wait for shared service? You don't want to do an intermunicipal agreement?
Well, this is specifically for the first phase of the building construction.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Got a little too excited about it. Didn't ask enough questions. Sorry.
Well, you know, we had our meeting this morning with capital projects. It's something that if we're going to be serious about a capital projects program and really laying out the groundwork for the future of Montgomery County, this is the first step, or, you know, one of the crucial steps to phase one of our building projects. So we would be kind of remiss if we didn't take the step, because otherwise we're just spinning our wheels.
Legislator?
Couple questions. One's more legislative. How does this relate, and this may be a question for the attorney, to Section 704 of the Charter dealing with capital programming? Since this is deemed a capital project, does this project as a whole need to be endorsed by the legislature as the rest of the capital budget has to before moving forward with any portion thereof?
Well, for the type of work that this contemplates, you're not really undertaking a capital project right here and now by doing it. You're not. It's preliminary. It's in the planning stages. I think if you have the charter would call for more rigorous requirements before, as you undertake something like that. I wouldn't see it with respect to this necessarily.
Sean, you had.
I was just going to clarify that this is a preliminary step in the capital plan process. Ultimately, the capital plan will come to the full board for approval, and any further progressing into an actual capital project for a building project would have to come in front of the board, of course, for some type of financing option. But there has been no capital project established for this particular project as of yet. That would come before the board for approval.
Okay, so this $40,000 is just for one specific thing, for one specific project?
I think
It's-
it might be helpful
yeah.
for Paul
Yeah.
to speak
It-
on the proposal that we have before us.
Yes, this 40,000 is to do some preliminary site investigations, soil borings, explorations, just to get the preliminary steps done that would be required to complete a final design. And really what we want to do is take advantage of the weather. But before the frost gets in the ground, before we get snowfall, things like that. It's just, it's a logical first step in a long-range process.
Those are the details that matter, Paul. Thank you very, very much.
Right?
And just more budgetary, I see this as being transferred to a 4438 line. I know this engineering services falls under professional services, and I just was curious why it's not being transferred to a 4431.
Historically, like I said, and this goes back, the 4431 has really been used really more particularly for accountants, auditors, and attorneys since I started here. When we sign contracts for, in the past, for like engineering services or some type of other service, contractual service, it's paid out of that fund. If you would feel better, we can put it in. It really doesn't matter. It's really an account only used internally by Montgomery County, the coding of it. Because when any report issued through the state, it all comes just to a .4. So the extension of the .4 is just for internal purposes only. If the board felt more comfortable putting under a 4431 professional service, that's fine.
I only speak for myself, but I think just for for clarity in the budget, looking at this in our procurement, it's defined as a professional service, and I'd like to, see it under 4431 in the budget so that, it's very clear what it's for in there in the future.
Any other questions, discussion items?
Look forward to the findings.
Are you?
I would sponsor either an amendment or treat it as typographical to change it to from 4438 to 4431, professional services line.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor on the amendment?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Okay. All those in favor of moving to full board as amended?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Full board. The next is, we have our transfer report. Nope, sorry, wrong one. Our procurement. Nope. Yeah, the procurement record. Did we do this last?
No, we did do it at the full board.
Yep.
We did it at the full board?
Yeah.
Yep.
You told me 1 minute.
Alright. So we're just going to do it at full board then? Okay. Yes? Okay. Is there anything else to come before the finance committee? I would like to say something. Budget meetings are going smoothly. I'm looking forward to a complete budget. I think we're moving in the right direction, and we're staying under the cap as of right now, so it's great. Look for a motion to adjourn.
You got it.
Second.
All right.
Sweet.